What's going on, Jacob?
It's going good, man. How about you?
Good. I like your little Luxo ball there in the back.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're all set up, ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
So you're Luca, obviously. Uh, Tell me a bit about how you related to this character because he's such a fun kid, and everyone that ever talks about you in the industry talks about how fun you are and how fun you are to be around. How did you relate to Luca when you started taking on the character?
I have to say I mainly relate to his eagerness to go to the surface, I guess. I mean, obviously I'm already on the surface, but I really want to, go out and explore the world some more, especially because of COVID right now, we're all stuck
Yeah.
inside. So yeah, I can kind of relate to that.
Now, did you have to? I know the timeline for this movie was kind of like in the middle of COVID. Like I know some of it was, some of it wasn't. Did you have to do a lot of your recording at home for this, and find a way to rig it and send it in, or did you do studio stuff before all that happened?
Yeah, so I was really lucky that we started recording before COVID happened. So I was able to go to the Pixar studio in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it's really, really cool there. But then COVID hit, and we were originally gonna record at my house. But the plans changed, and then I ended up being able to go into a studio in Vancouver.
Awesome. And then did you guys like when you did record in the studio, were you all in there together? Because you and Jack have like a really cool dynamic back and forth. And sometimes animated stuff you can be in the room together, and sometimes it's just you're just good and it works out that way.
Yeah, it's really funny because yeah, we were never in the same room together, and I'd never met him before too. So yeah, when we watched the movie, we were really surprised at how good the chemistry was.
Yeah. But have you guys met since then?
Oh, no, we haven't, unfortunately. I mean, I was able to do a Zoom with him,
Yeah.
and we did a couple interviews together, which is really fun because I have an extra. That was the only time I ever did interviews with someone else on Zoom. I liked it.
It's a weird way of like making friends now, like from home.
Yeah,
And I've had a couple people that I've met. I did like a D&D thing with some people and met some people for the first time, like over Zoom, and became friends from completely different places. And it's such a weird experience of this time.
for sure.
And what's really cool is like you have like this run right now of like really cool animated stuff, which is all like you did Harley Quinn, which was so cool to hear you do Robin. And Harley Quinn's such an awesome show.
Yeah, yeah. That was
And
really
then you
fun.
got Luca, and then you got another Disney project coming up, and like an iconic Disney sidekick. You get to
Yeah,
do Flounder. It's been really cool to see like you be cast in all these different vocal parts.
yeah. I have been doing a lot of animation recently. I think because of COVID, it's so easy to do. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's definitely a different like type of acting. It takes a different set of skills. But yeah, I'm hoping I'll be able to do more in the future.
What can you tell me about your Flounder part? I know you can't say a lot because it's still in production.
Yeah.
It's secrets and stuff. But what can you say about this take of your version of Flounder and kind of where this Little Mermaid's going?
Well, I can say that I'm very excited to do it. Obviously, I mean, uh, Little Mermaid, just like Pixar, is a big part of my childhood. So it's very exciting to be a part of a big movie like that.
Hmm.
And, yeah, everyone on the film is so nice. Everyone there is so welcoming and friendly. So it was really fun to do.
What was your reaction when you guys when you saw Luca for the first time? That first like teaser and stuff didn't show a lot of the sea monster stuff, but that's such a cool reveal, and the way that they changed the animation of it is so neat. What was your reaction to seeing your character kind of go through that the first time?
Yeah, well, I saw the movie like a couple months ago for the first time, and it
Hmm.
was really, really well done. The animation and everything, and I just love the concept of how they're like a sea monster, like in the water, but then they come up on land, and then they're human, and like the scales retract into their bodies, and I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned that coming up with Pixar. I feel like both of us are kind of. I was in that first wave of when I was a kid. That's when the first Toy Story came out and Bugs Life, and then you kind of had that second one. With a lot of like the Cars movies and the later Toy Story stuff. When you were a kid, what's your favorite of the Pixar movies?
I would say the Cars movies, I guess, because that's like the biggest. I think it has the most nostalgia for me, I guess, because
Mhm.
I had so much Lightning McQueen merch and stuff, and I had like a Power Wheels car too, where I
All
would
the
like,
Lightning McQueen swag you can find.
yeah, pretty much. I had like diecast cars too.
Yeah, I've got one back there of Ryan Blaney when he was in Cars 3.
Oh, nice.
From that, but they put those. They made the they had the Crocs for Lightning McQueen, like the kids Crocs. And
Oh my goodness,
they
I'm
made
pretty
them.
sure I had those. Yeah.
They made them for adults. Like they put them out recently for adults, and they sold out in like 10 minutes.
Really?
It was insanity. Like I didn't think that many people would be that into it, but they were gone.
I mean, Crocs are
crazy. Yeah, you forget. I always forget how like, popular Cars is for a lot of people. You know, I've always been a Toy Story person, and then it's like, oh, this is a huge, huge deal. And you know, Luca kind of has an opportunity with the Disney Plus thing, you know, to get in front of so many people all at one time and become like the next big Pixar thing.
Yeah, it's definitely very exciting because you know, like to think about how people could like look up to Luca the same way I looked up to Lightning McQueen is like really, really cool.
It sucks not to, like, that was what movie I wanted to see in theaters. Like it's so gorgeous. It would have been really, really cool on a giant screen, but you know, it's such a summertime movie. It's such a perfect summer film. Yeah. And it's nice that everyone gets to kind of enjoy it all at the same time all together.
Yeah. I'm glad that people will be able to watch it though. And, it's like such an important movie at this time, to remind people of summer and, how it was, because, COVID's been a thing for a very, very long time now. So it's good that people, they'll have a movie to watch with their family. Weather's also getting nice outside. So it's the perfect time.
And it's a really cool story of like, of accepting yourself and finding acceptance in a place where you don't expect it either, which is, there's never really a bad time for that story,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this movie could come out anytime, I guess, but I feel like it definitely has a whole new meaning when it comes out now.
Awesome. And lastly, I want to talk about one of my favorite things in the movie is the Silencio Bruno, like that recurring theme of telling that voice in your head, I'm not going to do it. I'm not gonna do it. What has your Bruno been, throughout your, you're just starting in your career, but you've already done so many things and gotten so much acclaim. What's kind of been your Bruno that's held you back and that you've had to fight off as you go further in your career?
Yeah, I mean, silencing Bruno is like such an important part of acting because you have to really put yourself out there. And, when you're doing a role, you can't hold back too. You have to go 100%. So, I mean, on something like that, I feel like for me, I think when I've had to, really silence Bruno, I think I remember like when I was at, my first like presenting thing. I was at like the CNN Hero Awards, and there I was really, really nervous, and I was really little at this time too. So, I was really kind of scared to, I guess, go up on stage. Yeah. So I was very, very nervous at the time. So I pushed through and I did it. I silenced Bruno. So it's pretty nice.
That's awesome. And I love the timing of this with Disney Plus because one of the shows I've been obsessed with all year has been Mighty Ducks. I don't know if you've watched Mighty Ducks or not.
Yeah.
But it was so cool to see you and Brady like both kind of take over Disney Plus this year, because he's been so fun to watch.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like he was so fun to work with on Good Boys, and then to see him on Mighty Ducks, which is obviously a big part of my childhood too. I grew up with those movies. I'm sure you probably did too. So yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome. Well, Jacob, I really appreciate you taking some time with me. I'm stoked for everybody to see Luca, and just congrats on the movie, man. Jim, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to be here. You're a way busier guy than I am.
Oh, wow. At times, but who knows?
I was excited about this because for a long time when I was growing up, you were the only comedian I was allowed to listen to, like of like the main comedians, because you were always pretty clean.
That was the best
growing up. Yeah, well, that too. My dad was like, he looks like me. We can do this. We can listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this experience with Pixar, because I know Luca kind of. It happened for you guys as artists at a weird time, because I know some people recorded before the shutdown, some after. Where did you fall in that party?
I totally was all during the shutdown. Like I was sent to read some lines so they could throw it in and see if they wanted me. And then I did all my sessions during lockdown, and now I'm doing promotion and it's coming out, I mean, I'm up here in Vancouver, but so it's a little bit still on lockdown, but Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It all transpired in a way where obviously when Pixar comes a knocking, you're just like so thrilled because no one has that hit, that batting average that Pixar does. And it's not just that it's going to be a successful movie, it's that it's going to be a quality one. And it's really hard to do. Not that I've ever done my own animated movie, but it's hard. And somehow they pull it off, and you know that you're going to be associated with something that is going to hold up. Yeah. You know, all those Pixar movies, they still work.
Yeah, I mean, you get that call. It's like that's probably the only studio where it's like there is maybe a 0.1% chance that this isn't any good, and even that feels too much. You know, like you know, it's going to work out. So
yeah.
And now, you know, you and Maya Rudolph play Luca's parents. Have you guys met? Are you all friends?
We both were. I met and hung out with her when we did this movie Away We Go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot she was in that.
Yeah. And so, but we didn't even do voice sessions the same time. There was a lot of discussion about having that happen, but it just ended up where they didn't need it, or it just didn't happen. So
yeah, I talked to both Jack and Jacob, and they haven't even met each other before. They've done this whole movie and have never met. They Zoomed like twice.
That's unbelievable.
Because their chemistry is so good.
Right?
It really works out. What did you think about the design for Lorenzo, for you, like the human version? Because he's so goofy looking when he gets to the surface.
I loved it. You know, it's like, it's so fun because there is something about Lorenzo where he does fit in the town, right? Yeah. And that there is, because there was kind of like a funny thing, like on Twitter, someone was like, why is Jim Gaffigan playing an Italian in this thing? And, you know, it was later revealed that they were just joking, but it was like, but he's a monster. Like, he's a sea monster, but like when he is in human form, he looks like an Italian guy. You know what I mean? So it was great.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't expecting his design to be so unique and different, but like, I chuckled when he first became human because it was not what I was expecting. It was so fun.
Yeah.
You know, you've talked a lot in your stand-up and your work about fatherhood and, you know, being a dad. Yeah. How did your experience as a dad kind of, you know, integrate with Lorenzo's character when you were, you know, working on his voice?
Well, that was something that was discussed with Enrico, the director, is that, you know, Lorenzo is maybe distracted, but he has good intentions. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, I can understand like being a parent that's distracted, but has the best intentions. You know, like there's a difference between a disinterested parent and somebody who's just, you know, struggling with trying to do the right thing. And I identify with that because, you know, it's like, I'm a dad, but, you know, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, he has that line where he's like, I should have been paying more attention. That wasn't just that can be a thing where you're just saying it because, you know, you feel like both of us should apologize. But he was very genuine. Like, I tried. I didn't want to not pay attention.
Yeah. And it's also like one of those things where it's like a classic, you know, it's kind of like this classic family unit with the grandma there and everything. It's not like the dad was never home. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or ignored the kid. He just was like, come look at these show crabs. So it was kind of, you know, it's weird. So like there is something of, and I think that a lot of parents, you know, we like to think that we're all insightful and picking up cues on our kids, but, you know, you're not going to know everything. And then if you look at it from our perspective to our parents, you know, they didn't know. You know what I mean? Right. Like the stuff that we pulled off, they had no idea. And that doesn't mean they're disinterested.
Yeah. And, you know, the world's just changing at such a ridiculous rate all the time. Yeah. You know, like that's, you know, looking at like at my future and like how to teach kids how to like navigate the internet and Instagram. It's like how, because I never had to do that. And I wasn't a kid like all that long ago, it feels like. It's always evolving and changing. And Luca really has a lot of those themes, and not with the technology, but, that's a world that Lorenzo doesn't understand.
And that shows you really like the, I don't want to give anything away, but like the arc that his parents make is that the generosity that they show, it's not just about like your children, you want the best for your children, but it also necessarily, it might mean that the parents don't get something that they want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so you mentioned kind of getting the call from Pixar. It's really neat. You and Jacob are both in similar circumstances where you got this movie and then you have another Disney movie like immediately after it. You got like two in a row. You said you're up in Vancouver filming right now. I know you're doing Peter Pan and Wendy. You got the perfect Smee beard, man.
I actually
it looks so
Wendy.
Good. Well, I know you can't tell me a lot, but what can you tell me about that experience? And because David Lowery, it's not going to be like any Peter Pan thing we've seen, because David Lowery's mind is not like other minds.
But what the thing is that I'm convinced that David Lowery, like what I've witnessed, and obviously I can't say anything, but it is more authentic than all the other versions of Peter Pan that we know of. And so there's something about, it's almost kind of like the Mandela effect, like where you think that Peter Pan is we know about the problematic kind of things that exist in the animated one. Right. But like, and then there's versions, like there's the Spielberg version, which was kind of like perfect for that time period. So there is kind of this hole for this authentic, grounded version. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where it's not like there's a version for a prequel or another version. There definitely is, but there is, because the animated one was done with such archaic thinking, and because the 80s and 90s versions were done in kind of like a pop song written for the 80s. Right. There is this need for this grounded, authentic one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And that's
100%.
where like someone like David Lowery, because I see it on set every day, his logic working. It's not, there's nothing lazy about what he does. It's very grounded, and there's nothing cute about it in that there's not like, I don't know. It's like, I can't articulate it. And again, we're shooting, but similar to, as I know that a Pixar movie is going to be good, I know that David Lowery's Peter Pan and Wendy is going to be, it's going to blow those other versions out of the water.
I know I'm excited. Everyone else is excited because one of the very, very few times where someone's been cast as something with you and Smee, and the whole internet was like, oh yeah, no, that's great. But our time's up. I really appreciate it, Jim. I really appreciate taking some time. I know you're out there shooting, and it was great to meet you and talk. And I'm excited for everybody to check out Luca here in a couple weeks. I'm here with the filmmakers behind Luca, Disney and Pixar's newest movie. Guys, talk to me a little bit about just your, Enrico, I know this was a personal story for you, and Andrea, you came onto it, helping him push this story forward. Tell me about your personal experience, like as this story got going and how you brought it across the finish line.
Yeah, what a journey. Like I feel like you set off on making these big movies. I pitched this late 2016, we got it going. So what a journey. Yeah, it really is. I find it a sculpting kind of a process of getting rid of stuff that doesn't need to be there. So I had a kernel of the idea of my experiences with my best friend, me having been an introvert and a little shy and a little timid, and him having helped me. And that was an important friendship in finding my identity and growing up. And when you begin pitching these things, there's usually a little more meat on the fire that you want. So you slowly dig deeper, you get rid of the things you don't need. But we always had the setting. I grew up in Italy, so that was a really fun flavor to bring to this, a specific flavor. And these fantastical sea monster secret, which was always a big part of it with this idea of being kids, that we like the idea that there's that kind of age where you feel a little bit out of place, not fitting in, that having to have this secret other identity felt always like an interesting metaphor for feeling a little bit outsiders like. And then Andrea, do you want to fill in on that? But it took further and further. We work so hard on these for screenings over screening. We do storyboards, we write it,
right.
We kind of take it apart, rebuild it, put it back up. Okay, this is better, this is worse, and keep going.
Yeah, no, I was excited to come onto this movie. I really love the short La Luna that Enrico directed, and I love that sensibility and that pacing and that poetic tone. And I was really excited to bring that to a feature-length film for Pixar. I felt like my role along the way was definitely to help protect that, help find that. And, and then later it became kind of helping rally the team to make this film from home. We did all the shot work right as we started working from our homes and had to sort out recording sessions with talent and all of that. But everybody was so, inventive and scrappy and really figured it out. So I felt like, as a team, we really kind of came through this whole thing together, and we had this project to kind of unite us and give us something meaningful to do when we were all, just experiencing all the layers of pandemic.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I realized as I asked that question, I trailed off a little bit, and I asked a much broader question and gave you guys, tell me everything, was essentially what I ended up with. So I appreciate y'all just, taking what I gave you and giving me something much better. Enrico, you mentioned the story with your best friend, and that's obviously, so personal to you. And you talked about kind of that being a summer thing. You guys always, spending summers together. And that's really a bigger part of Luca than I thought it was going to be. Like the idea of what summer is in the summer experience, not just, we live in Italy and it is beautiful all the time, but it wasn't about life in Italy. It was about living in the summer in Italy. And it feels like the perfect kind of summer movie.
Yeah, we were little fishes. Like we would spend months at the shore. We loved the waves. We play in the waves. We really did have a lot of cliffs, and we would jump off of them. It was. I remember wearing sneakers because sometimes it was high enough that it would hurt your feet, so you jump with your sneakers. So there was something about wanting to capture that wonderful place and that wonderful time because. There's something that just, we had several summers, but there's just an encapsulation in that season that something is changing and that beginning to ending, that you're not the same person anymore. And so we wanted to really feel the season starting and ending, I hope it comes through. But yeah, it's a lot about finding the memories that we, a lot of us have, like it might be a lake, it might be scampering in nature and whatever we are with our best friend, and maybe a best friend who's a little, daring, and it'll make you scrape a knee. We used to say scrape a fin, that is a big part of this.
And Andrea, not growing up in Italy,
yeah,
I bet the research trips had to be just incredible.
I didn't get to go on any of them myself. I joined
now I feel
a little bit like, no, I'm about to go. So it's all going to be made up for.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's kind of a joke because it was like we tried so many times.
I tried twice and things kept happening. So yeah, but no, I mean, I think it was, I did have to do a lot of gelato research. And so
tough. It's so tough.
I did my part there for sure. But no, I mean, we did send teams over. Enrico went early on with more of the storytellers and our production designer. That's the foundations of the film. And we wanted that rooted in Italy, in this place. Later, we sent our teams of art directors, folks in charge of camera and lighting. And, again, it's just to feel that place. What is the light like? The water, the reflections, the heat of the summer sun. It was important to, for those in charge of conveying it to their teams and capturing it in the film, for them to feel it themselves.
And I got to ask, so I'm about to go this weekend and watch it a second time to look for this specifically. But, Pixar is so known for including references and things from all of its, other movies and other things it's doing into its new stuff. What can you tell me about some hidden secrets in Luca that people may or may not notice the first time watching it?
Yeah, we put a lot of wonderful little things. A lot of them are about love for Italian cinema of the era, like the golden era of Italian cinema. So you'll see some Fellini posters in the background. You see signage. Signage was an interesting thing in town. We wanted to convey the sense of what real signage is, but we could put interesting names there, so we have some directors that we love, writers that we love. Another fun part is that we were thinking 1950s and 60s and, what is it that fits in there? So, we found this old poster for, what is it? How many leagues is it? 20,000 leagues under the sea? I forget the amount of leagues, but there was an Italian version of it, and that's actually a Disney movie we could put in there, and it is really of the time. The ones that, or we would put a funny Donald Duck puppet or things like that. A lot of love for Mastroianni is kind of like, and Fellini.
Because the whole thing really felt like a love letter to like Italian like neorealism, those little dream sequences with the fit like that. And that was one of the coolest thing about the movie.
That's right. So there's there's two little Mastroianni cameos. If you can spot them both, they're a wonderful little thing from two movies. And then there is one that is so well hidden that is the hardest of Easter eggs. There is a mention of something from Turning Red, which is our next movie. As you know, that happens. I am, you might need some breadcrumbs at some point, but I think we're not there yet. But that's
one of those. It'll be easier to spot after that comes out, and you go.
It might be because we don't want to give anything up on their hand either.
So that's it's there and it's waiting, but it probably would be pretty hard to find. But there's other little things. Some of those things from other Pixar films, like some of the A113 and Pizza Planet, which I see behind you. Which direction? That direction, yeah. Yep, that one. And so
I got Bow there above it too. Little Bow postcard there.
Yeah, we do have the Loxa ball in there somewhere, and we do have a Pizza Planet.
Yeah,
I will look for it.
It's a little bit different, a more Italian form, which is kind of fun. So so it's always fun to play with those elements in a film and think of like in this setting, what's the right version of that?
We love those layers, because it gives depth. I mean, when you think about it, even in animation, there's your focus, so it's the character is really moving. But then there's a lot of wonderful little touches in the characters right behind them, and sometimes we laugh for days just because of that little guy in the background is doing something funny.
I'm excited for my details watch through this weekend. But thank you guys very much for taking some time and for this movie. It's such a joy to watch, and I'm excited for everybody to experience it here in a couple weeks.